What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to share with you 3 recent returns that I got back in the mail from the 1960s era of baseball and profile each of those individuals that signed for me and talk about their careers in baseball and introduce them to you. So one of these individuals I'm going to share for last actually was a historic thing, and I'll talk about his history-making thing when I get to his part of the presentation. So the first person I want to share with you is a return from former Chicago Cubs pitcher Dave Dowling on 3 of 3. And I happen to have these 1967 Rookie Star cards of Dave Dowling. Unfortunately, Mr. Connors passed away in 2018, so I'm not going to be able to get him to sign it. So this is as far as I can go with getting this card signed in present day. So let me tell you about Dave Dowling and his career in baseball. Dave Dowling was actually born in Louisiana. However, he wound up attending high school in Washington. While he was in Washington, he would actually play for the Centralia Legion baseball team that won the 1958 state baseball tournament. In the final game, he would actually face off against future major leaguer Dave McNally. The two dueled for 9 innings. Eventually, though, the Dowling's team did get the loss. Dowling also played basketball and was part of the boys' state championship basketball team in 1960 as well. Dowling signed with the St. Louis Cardinals after attending the University of California, Berkeley. After winning 10 of 14 decisions in the high minors in 1964, Dowling was recalled to St. Louis during the September expansion rosters. The Cardinals were embroiled in a tense 4-team scramble with the National League pennant, and Dowling saw action in only one game on October 3rd, 1964, against the Mets at Busch Stadium. He pitched the 9th inning of a lopsided 15-5 loss to the last place Mets, facing 5 batters and allowing 2 singles but no runs. The following season, Dowling was claimed on waivers by the Cubs, and he spent 2 years in the Chicago farm system before the end of the season recall in 1966. The last place Cubs started him against the Cincinnati Reds on September 22nd, and Dowling yielded only 2 earned runs, both coming in the first inning on 10 hits, going the distance to defeat veteran Reds left-hander Joe Nuxhall. So despite having a decent outing with the Cubs decided not to bring him back to the major leagues the next year, but instead decided to let him go and sign with the San Francisco Giants. The Giants didn't bring him up to the major leagues, and he spent the AAA season with the Giants that year, never appearing in a game for the Giants. The following year, he would return to a very familiar place. He would return to the Cubs after that 67 season. However, not long with the Cubs, in April, he would be traded back to the St. Louis Cardinals, the team that originally drafted him in the beginning. Well, the Cardinals, despite him appearing in 21 games, a little bit with the Cubs that year, and the Cardinals AA and AAA affiliates, he posted a 3.33 ERA in 21 games and did not get a call back up to the majors in that 1968 season. And I think this might have upset Dowling a little bit. I'm not gonna put words in his mouth or anything like that. But Dowling actually decided, you know what, I've had enough with baseball. Despite having this good record, which again, his overall major league record at this point, guys, was 1 win, 0 losses, a 1.80 ERA in 2 games pitched. So, I mean, this guy has an ERA under 2 in the 2 games that he pitched and never got another shot at the majors. Well, Dowling decided, I'm going to go back to school. And Dowling actually wound up going back to school, getting his dentistry degree and becoming a doctor of dental science. And he wound up going back to Washington, becoming a dentist for many, many years, and then retired to Arizona, where he also had a dentistry firm there as well. So Dowling, despite having some somewhat decent numbers in his major league time, also had some decent numbers in the minors, never got to pitch more than 2 games in the major leagues. So kind of an amazing story that this guy didn't get another shot at the major leagues, but sometimes that's how things went back in the 1960s in that era. So I'm going to move on to another return. Thank you, Dr. Dowling, I should say, for signing my cards. And we'll move to the next return, which is another individual that had a very abbreviated career despite having some decent numbers. Well, this next return is an all-time Oriole, and I actually had 2 copies of this card this go around, and that is a return from Dave Vineyard or Vineyard. I don't know how you would say that. Would you say Vineyard or would you say Vineyard? Not really sure how to pronounce that, but in addition to the 3 that I sent him, I actually sent some index cards to protect the cards, and Dave signed those as well. I had no intention on getting those signed. I just basically stuck them in the envelope, and Dave put his autograph on those as well for me. So let me tell you about Dave Vineyard, or Vineyard, and about his career in baseball. Dave Vineyard was a West Virginia native, born in Clay, West Virginia. He actually graduated high school from Spencer, West Virginia. After graduating from Spencer, Dave would sign a professional contract with the Cleveland Indians for the 1959 season. He would be signed to the Class D affiliate of the Indians, where he would post a 3-6 record in 15 games at just 18 years old. The following year, he would be dealt to the Baltimore Orioles organization. After being dealt to the Orioles, he would appear in 18 games in their AAA affiliate. So this guy jumped from D League to AAA in one season. Well, the Orioles decided to send him back down to the B League, where he posted a 99 record in 1961. Well, Dave would work his way up through the minor league systems, appearing in multiple games, primarily as a starter from 1962 to 64. And Dave would get his call up to the major leagues on July 18th, 1964, where he would face off against the Detroit Tigers. Dave would pitch in 5 innings against the Tigers, giving up 7 hits and 3 earned runs, eventually getting the loss for that game. Dave would stick with the Tigers for the 1964 season, appearing in 19 games, starting 6 of them, posting a 2-5 record and a 4.17 ERA. Well, 1965, Dave just appeared in just 7 games, so I'm going to assume that he had some injury issues in that 1965 season because he appeared in just 7 games in their AAA affiliate. Dave bounced back in 1966 in AAA, however did not get a call back up to the majors, appearing in 29 games for their AAA affiliate in 1966. Well, after the 66 season, the Orioles decided to cut ties with Dave, and he actually signed with the Boston Red Sox organization. He would start 11 games for the Red Sox in 1967 in their AAA affiliate, posting a respectable 2.70 ERA and a 5-4 record. However, Dave did not get called up to the major leagues, and he would never pitch in the major leagues again. That 1964 season would wind up being the only season that Dave would pitch in the major leagues. He would wind up in his 19 pitching career record of 2-5, posting a 4.17 ERA, including 6 starts and 1 complete game. After his 9-year pro career, primarily in the minors in 1967, Dave hung up the cleats and no longer played in baseball. I'm not really sure what Dave decided to do after his playing career. However, I was able to get him to sign these cards for me, care of a West Virginia address. So Dave has moved back to West Virginia after his playing career and made a life for himself in West Virginia after he played his professional baseball career 1 year in the major leagues. So thank you, Mr. Vineyard, for signing my cards and also adding these nice index cards as well to the collection. And we'll move on to the final return. All right, so this final one, some of you guys may recognize this name. He was a kind of a primetime pitcher back in his era. And the reason I included this item, and I'm going to talk about history, this guy actually made a historical feat in baseball, minor, but it is historical. And who am I talking about other than former St. Louis Cardinals starting ace Ray Washburn on 3 regular cards. This one actually features him as a red after he left the Cardinals. But I also included this as a card as well, and Ray signed that as well, and that is the 1966 or Busch Stadium 2 version of Busch Stadium. Now, the historical significance of Ray Washburn and Busch Stadium is Ray Washburn was the first pitcher to pitch in that stadium. So I was going through my old Donruss sets. I saw the Busch Stadium photo there, and sometimes these can kind of clutter up your collection. I thought, since I'm writing Ray Washburn, I'm going to send that to him and ask him to sign it. He was the first pitcher in the history of baseball to throw a pitch in this stadium. So kind of a nice historic feat about Ray Washburn. But let me tell you about the rest of his career in baseball, starting with featuring a profile of Ray Washburn. Washburn was born in Pasco, Washington, and was a 1961 graduate of Whitworth University. Washburn, a $50,000 signee. After being selected by the Cardinals as a signing bonus, he actually went immediately to AAA for the Cardinals, posting a 5-4 record in 1960. In 1961, he put together an immaculate season in AAA for the Cardinals, posting a 16-9 record for their club in 30 games, getting him a call-up to the major leagues on September 20th, 1961. In his first game, he pitched 4.1 innings, striking out 3, walking 3, with a no decision. He would finish out the year with the Cardinals, appearing in 3 games, posting a 1.77 ERA. Well, when 1962 rolled around, he posted a 12-9 record in 34 games, his first full season in the majors. Well, after the 62 season, a shoulder muscle tear midway into the 63 season sidelined him for the remainder of the year and limited his effectiveness for the next couple of years afterwards. Relying mostly on a curveball, Washburn returned to the starting rotation in 1966. As I mentioned, 1966 he pitched the first game at Busch Stadium. He won 11 games and had 9 losses in that 66 season. In 1967, he won 10 games against 7 losses on a Cardinal team that won the World Series, defeating the Boston Red Sox in 7 games. He had missed nearly a month of that season after his thumb was dislocated by a line drive from John Roseborough. In 1968, the year of the pitcher, along with teammate Bob Gibson, if you remember, was Washburn's best season. He posted a 14-8 record with a 2.26 earned run average and a rotation led by Bob, which would repeat the Cardinals as National League champions. The wins, the ERA, were career best, as was his strikeout total. Washburn also threw a no-hitter against the Giants in a 2-0 victory at Candlestick Park on September 18th of that year. The no-hitter was the first Cardinal no-hitter since Lon Warneke in 1941, and it came a day after the Giants' Gaylord Perry had pitched a no-hitter of his own against the Cardinals, defeating Bob Gibson, of all people. So I guess the only way to beat Bob Gibson that year was you had to pitch a no-hitter against him. So the Cardinals would go on to the World Series, and Washburn didn't have 2 exceptional games during that series, and eventually the Cardinals would lose to the Tigers, losing Game 7 of that World Series. Washburn would slump to 3-8 as a spot starter during the 69 season, in which the Cardinals then decided to trade him to the Cincinnati Reds for another 1968 no-hit pitcher, George Culver. Washburn pitched mostly in relief for the Reds team that won the 1970 National League pennant in its first 9 years. His last major league appearance was in the final game of that year's World Series, in which the Baltimore Orioles defeated the Reds in 5 games. In his career, Washburn won 72 games and lost 64, posted a 3.53 earned run average, and struck out 700 batters in over 1,209 innings pitched. Washburn would go down as a champion on the 1964 and 67 Cardinals teams. He would later go on to manage, in 1972, the Seattle Rainiers, a Class A Northwest League team, before accepting a teaching position at a community college. On nights and weekends, Washburn earned a Master's of Education Administration degree from Seattle University. Eventually became the chairman of the Department of Physical Education and Athletic Director at Bellevue College. He retired in 2003 from his full-time duties at Bellevue College. As his accolades, Washburn is a member of the NAIA Hall of Fame, the Inland Empire Hall of Fame, and the Washington State Sports Hall of Fame. So, kind of a neat little history lesson on Ray Washburn. I wish I knew what Dave Vineyard did after his playing career, because both Washburn and Dr. Dowling went on to have quite successful careers, post-playing baseball careers. And I wish I knew what Dave did, because that would have been a cool story for all three of these, that, hey, look beyond baseball. Yeah, they were professional baseball players, but look what they did. But very cool to have Ray Washburn, the first pitcher in Busch Stadium 2 there, to sign that card. If you happen to have any of these cheap Fleer cards from back in the day, they came in every factory set, sometimes one per pack. Take a look at your Busch Stadium, and this might be a new idea for some of you to send out to get some cheap autographs from some historic players if you don't have real cards of them. So thank you for taking the time to watch. Thank you, Dr. Dowling, thank you, Ray, and thank you, Dave, for signing my cards. And I look forward to your comments below. And as always, happy collecting.